Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. It is Michelle with Inner Journey Studios, and I am coming to you live today with a coffee and create. So I've got my coffee and we are going to create. We are working on pumpkins this month. So I'm really excited for this one I'm going to show you today. I've been like going back and forth, like which one should I do? Because I have so many ideas popping around in my head. And I wanted it to be kind of intuitive, um, which I do each time, or I don't know if intuitive is the right word. What's the word I'm thinking of? Spontaneous. Because as a creative person, the way my brain works is I might be really excited about something today, but then tomorrow I go to create it and I'm like, oh, I really don't want to do that. I don't know if anybody else can relate. Like my brain just needs new stimulation and new stuff. And sometimes if I plan too specifically, I have a lot of resistance around my creativity. So let's just talk about that a minute. Does anybody else ever find that you have resistance around sitting down to create? This is a really common challenge that artists have. Artists, creative people, a lot of times we have so many different reasons why this might be. And I think it's so important for us as creative people, as people who have the need to create, because I suspect you're a lot like I am. I have to create. It is part of who I am. It is part of my everyday. Whether you see it in my business online or not, I am always creating something. You see a lot of the painting and the art journaling and things along that line. At home behind the scenes, when I'm not doing my business creativity, I am embroidering, like coloring with stitches, painting with thread. That's what we call painting with thread. I am working on learning how to crochet right now. I love to do quilting. I've got a gazillion quilting projects going on at the moment. All kinds of creative stuff. So when we are not showing up for our creativity, when we feel that resistance to sit down, Kristen, hey, hello, good morning. I'm so excited to see you. Can we just talk for a minute how big your kids are getting? When did that happen? Oh my goodness. And I have an adult now, so I don't know what's going on with the world. Something is askew. Um, but when we sit down for ourselves, when we go to sit down and we have this resistance, I think it's vital as creative people, and this goes for whatever you are creating. It doesn't have to be in your art journal. It doesn't have to be painting. It can be any of the fiber arts, fabric, knitting, crochet, embroidery, all of that. It can be writing. If you're an author, if you've got stories to tell, it can be centered around writing. It can be music, anything that is creative. If you have a resistance to doing it and you find yourself doing everything but, and or coming up with reasons why you can't, sometimes it's valid. Listen, life happens. Things get busy. Sometimes we can't sit down at our studio, at our typewriter, at the piano, wherever. Sometimes we just truly can't. But many days we can. And if we're not, we need to figure out why that is. And I found that one of my personal challenges, and I'm going to share it with you in case it's helpful for anybody else, is I have learned that I have resistance to doing the same thing over and over again. My husband used to laugh at me. I used to be a belly dancer and I would do a lot of improv dancing. So I took my classes. I went through the drills, literally, all the shimmies and the hip drops and, the chest lifts and all the things. So I knew the movements. I would go through those in my classes each week. But when it came time to perform, I often did solos and I improv them. So I didn't practice them. And it would not be unusual for me to be like, hey, play whatever you want and start dancing. Um, because that's just kind of how I roll. And he used to laugh at me. He's like, oh, yeah, we don't want to say the P word around here, meaning practice. He would joke, and that's kind of been a joke in the family. So it's not that I don't practice, I just have to shake it up a little bit. And I don't know if anybody else is like that with your creativity. I find if I'm pushing myself to do something like a class or a project and I'm not feeling it that day, I'm not going to show up for it. I'm going to have a lot of resistance. And then I'm going to do everything but. So let me know in the comments if this is resonating at all with you. Resistance is a real big thing that holds us back, I think, from our creativity and from reaching our incredible potential as creative people. Oh, Krista, I am so sorry. I got you confused. Your last name is very similar to another friend of mine. I apologize 100% over. Oh my gosh, I am so, so terribly sorry. You remind me of, and I don't have my glasses on, so that's probably not helpful either. Your name is very similar to another dear friend of mine, and I thought that was her popping on, which I thought was odd because she's usually working this time of day. And I was like, I'm a little confused, but awesome. But awesome you're here. So thank you so much for being here. I am so sorry for my faux pas, but welcome. Thank you. And hello. And yes, coffee. Who else has their coffee or drink of choice? You can have whatever you want. I like my cup of coffee in the morning. My family teases me and laughs about that. All right, I'm going to take a sip of coffee and then let's go ahead and make a pumpkin or two in our art journals. But first, coffee. All right, I'm going to set that a little off to the side so that I don't accidentally put my paintbrush in it. And let me go ahead and, I already have my studio view up. So let's go ahead and we're going to make this the prime one. All right, so real quick, I wanted to show you. I've talked about using a palette before. Right now, this is my current obsession. This could change, just like the whole resistance thing I was talking about. This could change at any given moment. But I wanted to show you one of the reasons I love this is I've got this, what do we call it? This press and seal. I love this stuff. I don't know how the rest of you are, but I have for years tried to figure out how to use plastic wrap, and I cannot get that stuff to work ever. Like, it is a little crazy for me. I just cannot figure it out. So I got this and I love it. That is the moral of that story. I'm going to change our review. There we go. So press and seal in the kitchen has been like a game changer for me. And then I learned that I could put it on my palette. So one of the big things is when you have a paint palette, people, do you wash it down the drain? What do you do with the paint? How do you clean the palette? And then so often we'll use disposable ones, which I use sometimes too, so I'm not opposed to those either. But I have found, look at how easy this cleans up. Look at that. I just pull it off, and it's pretty clean. Occasionally I'll get some underneath, but it's a paint palette, so it's okay if it has paint on it. It was still wet, so I could just wipe it off. So occasionally I'll get a little on there, but it's no big deal. And let me show you how easy this is to put it on. And then I promise we are going to paint also. I just get excited. I want to show you all the things all the time. Okay. And my coffee's kicking in. So now you're going to get everything all at once. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. I just kind of loosely put this on, and then I start in the middle, and I kind of just, and I don't worry about getting it exact. Like, I'm okay if there's, little air bubbles and what do we call these little wrinkles and stuff. That doesn't bother me. And then I just run my finger in here to smooth that down a little bit because these are so small, so that really helps the paint. I come back up here, do this one. So I kind of do the center first, and then I go in and I do my little ones here, and you can do it however you want. And if you have a way that works better, let me know. I found that starting in the center works well because then it pulls from the sides of it, so I don't run short on it. All right, so that's good enough. And then I do these. Same kind of thing as with the round ones. I just kind of, oh, sorry, I'm off film. I just got film. Oh my goodness, y'all, did I just date myself? I'm off film. No, I'm off camera. It's all digital. There is no film. Clearly, I haven't had enough caffeine yet. I need a little more coffee so I can get my words right. So that's going to help. All right. And we are going to just go like that. And now I've got a nice clean palette ready to work with. All right, so today I thought it would be fun to use some book pages to make our pumpkins. I'm going to be working in my art journal. This is an Arteza one, and I'm pretty sure it's like 5.5 by 8.5, I think, or something fairly close to that. It might be, no, it's not a 7 by 9, I don't think. Pretty sure it's a 5.5 by 8.5, but whatever size you have. Here's the thing with this project we're going to do today. It does not matter. You can use any size you want. It's very adaptable. So I wanted to start by just showing how I'm going to draw these out, because when I go to do them on my paper here, it might not show up real well. So let me grab a pencil. This is my favorite pencil. What is this called? I shouldn't say that without knowing. It's Graph Gear 1000 by Pentel. I absolutely love these. An art teacher I had introduced me to these years ago, and they are my favorite. I mean, I'll use anything to draw with, so don't get me wrong. I don't have to have this. I will use dollar store pencils or mechanical pencils or whatever, but I love this. When I want to be fancy, I use this one. So I'm fancy today. So how is everybody doing? Where are you watching from? I would love to hear. I am in Central Florida. I'm in the Orlando area, out in Claremont. So we are having beautiful weather. I love this time of year. It cools down a little bit. Not like those of you up north where you have true fall, but it cools down a little bit here, and it's nice. Oh, and look, I got my pumpkin hat on. Yay for pumpkin hats. All right, so here's the thing with pumpkins. They are super easy to do, because if you think about it, if you've ever gone to a pumpkin patch, or like, I don't know what you all have where you are, but in Florida, we just have an open field that we throw pumpkins in and go, hey, go pick out your pumpkin. It's a pumpkin patch. So I don't know what it's like in the rest of the world, but we try. We put that effort in. And when you look at these pumpkins, they are every size and every shape. Like, they're not just these perfect, most of them are not the perfect ones that you imagine when you see in pictures and that. They're like a little wonky, and they're, they might be a little squat or a little squared out or oval or round or out this way. So they can be all kinds of shapes. If you go to Disney World, you might get to see a Mickey Mouse shaped pumpkin, because they grow them in a form, which is really cool to see. So let's go ahead then with that in mind. Don't be afraid to draw. A lot of times people are like, I want a tracer, or I can't draw well, or I don't know how to. The way you learn how to draw is you just keep drawing, and you don't worry too much about it. And this is a great shape to do it with. So here's an example. I like to put a little dip in here and then round it out. And I'm going to bring it down, and I do a few little things here, and then I bring it around. I've got a pumpkin, right? Then we just add in a little stem. Bam, we have a little pumpkin, right? We'll add some leaves on, and life will be good. So we can do, and then, when we go to actually work with it, we just put our little or little doodads in there. And look at how cute that is. The same, you can do it shorter. Let me do our little things here. And this one got a little wonky. And I'm like, that's great. Now we have a pumpkin with a little bit of character to it. All right, so we do the same thing. We're going to just bring our curved line here. Look how cute that is. We got a pumpkin. You see how easy this is to do this? And this is fun to do, like if you're ever wanting to just practice drawing, doing something like this, just having fun with it is a great way to practice drawing. You know, just take a little bit of time while you're watching a show or whatever, you know, you have a minute. Set a timer if you need to. You know, sometimes it's good to have that timer going that says, "Hey, you need to be done." Um, but just playing around with it, and you can see how different they are just by the different shapes. We can also do a stackable one here. And then we'll do a little one. There's other ways you can do it. You can obviously get a lot more detailed on your pumpkins, but this is just a really simple way. And for what we're doing, it's perfect to just come in and draw your pumpkins the way you want. Now, you can totally do it on plain white paper. I'm going to actually move into doing it with, sorry, now I'm going. I'm like, here we go. Let's do this. I'm going to move it over into my book pages. So in case you can't see what I'm drawing, this, I'll be doing something along this line. So now I have to decide, do I want to do 1, 2, or 3 pumpkins? What should we do? So I could do one kind of big one, or I could do a couple smaller ones. And I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is, I think I'm just going to do one today. I was thinking about doing more. I actually think I'm just going to do one today. Keep it simple. I'm going to start by adding a little bit of white paint on it. I just want to distress it a little bit. It's not really distress, I guess, white paint. Is it distress if it's white? I don't think so. But I want to add a little bit of that vintage look to it. And so I'm going to add some paint. I like to add my colors, the straight up colors, into these little wells. And then I do my mixing over in these areas if I have to mix. All right, so I'm going to take my credit card here, not my credit card, my gift card. You can use a brush for this too. I like to use these cards because it gives this really cool kind of haphazard look. All right, and that just tones down the words a little bit, pushes them back. I'm probably going to add some color to it also, but let's let that dry for just a second. And let's go ahead and move into the background. Now, for today, I'm going to go with a traditional orangey color pumpkin. I'm going to mix my own orange. I'm going to use some yellow ochre, and I'll be using some red, maybe. Where's my red? We'll find the red. Here we go. Thought I had it right here. And for the background, I kind of want to go light today. So what color should we do the background? If we have an orange pumpkin, um, hmm, decisions, y'all. I think I'm going to go with a little bit of this tealy blue. It's mermaid tail. I love this color by Americana, by the way. Ooh, sorry. A little sneeze going on there. All right, so I'm going to add some white to this. And brushes. Here we go. So this is where I use my well, is I want to add a little bit of white. Oh, that's nice. Now I'm on watercolor paper, so I sometimes will add water to what I'm doing on the paper. I don't always do it dry on dry when I'm on my watercolor paper. You can also put a primer down like a gesso, and that will help with some of the absorbency. I like the watercolor paper in my art journal because I do a lot of mixed media in here where I'm using a lot of different mediums. Like I will use watercolor and acrylics and colored pencils and watercolor pencils. And I do a lot of collage, so it gets really heavy with glue and stuff like that with some of my projects. So I love the way that the watercolor paper holds up. And also, sometimes if I'm just doing straight up paint like we are today, it does not hold up as well. Oh, Kristen, have a great day at work. I hope it's a lovely day for you. Or yeah, at work. Okay. Wanted to make sure I saw the right thing. I hope your day at work goes really well today. Thank you for popping in, and thank you for coming back to watch the replay. It will be available here. Wherever you are watching it is where it will be available. So it's in my Facebook free group. If you're not part of that, y'all, you need to be. Just let me know in the comments. Just put group and I will get you an invitation or the link to be part of that group. But it will also be on my Facebook page and on my YouTube channel. So I'm all over the place with this today. And if you are painting one of the pumpkins, I've got 3 different dates this month we're going to be doing these. So if you are doing it, please take me and let me see it. I would love to see what you do. You can tag Inner Journey Studios, or you can even tag me personally, Michelle Boardman. Either or works, but I would love to see what you are creating, what you are making. Because it's so much fun, right? Isn't it inspiring to see what we are all doing? I love seeing, what other artists and creators are making. I love seeing your artwork. It gets me really excited if it's from one of my tutorials because I'm like, oh, look, they like me. I'm like Sally Fields. They like me. They really like me. That it inspires you to do something that's creative and fun for yourself. Tara Lynn, hello. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, I love this blue. If anybody missed it, I have to tell you, I absolutely love the Mermaid Tail by Deco Art. I don't always recommend specific paint color, like craft paint colors. I'll just say red or orange or black or white. And, you can choose whatever works for you paint color wise, in that realm. But this particular one, the Mermaid Tail, it is honestly one of my favorite. I use it all the time. I go through so much of this. And right now I have it mixed with white, and you can see it makes this gorgeous blue color with some variations in it. But I'll sometimes mix it with a phthalo blue. I'll mix it with green. I'll put a little black in it, like depending on what you want to get. It is so versatile for helping to create some other colors. So it's really a lot of fun to work with. All right, we're going to let this dry now. Let's go back to our pumpkin page. It's mostly dry. If you're at home, you might want to make sure it's dry, put a blow dryer on that or whatever. But for me, it's mostly dry and I feel good about that. So I'm going to go ahead. Oh, there's my fancy pencil. I was so excited that I had my fancy pencil today and then I couldn't find it. I'm like, where did it go? All right, time for a coffee break. Mm-hmm. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to this is roughly the size of my art journal page, more or less. This is, by the way, I have books that I buy from the thrift store or garage sales or wherever I usually tend to buy books that are older, that are maybe in a little rougher shape. And older meaning like I would never do this to a first edition or something that was, rare or precious. I tend to buy like the Pulp Fiction, the ones that when you go in there are a gazillion by that author, that one, the spine might be cracked a little bit or whatever. I like to take them because what I do know after thrifting for many years is that a lot of times the stuff, they only keep it in the stores for so long and then they either recycle it or throw it away. Like it does not, if it doesn't sell, they get rid of it. So this is my way of kind of helping a book to last even longer, even though it's not being read now. So some people I know have challenges that I tear books up, but please know that I do it with older books that probably might not be read. All right, Hans Christian Andersen probably would, but I bought this book specifically for doing this, and that is just what we did. All right, so now I've got my pumpkin. We're going to just go ahead. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. That's all right. We're going to be cutting this out anyway. And I'm going to bring these lines down. I probably don't need to do that right now. All right, so here is my pumpkin. I'm going to go ahead just for my own self. I'm going to go ahead and just add these in. And then I'm also going to do a little bump in the back. Pumpkin is just one of those shapes that is super easy to do because you really can't do it wrong. You guys, you can't do it wrong. It's super easy. All right, so now we have our pumpkin drawn, however you want to do yours. I've got the paper primed. I used white paint. You could use gesso, white gesso, clear gesso, whatever you wanted. And now let's go ahead and mix a little bit of orange. So I'm using a red. Probably going to need a little more. And I'm going to use some yellow ochre. Now that I'm going to put here because I know I'm going to mix it right away. Here's the thing when you're mixing with red. Y'all, red is a potent color. Like a little bit goes a long, long, long way. So I'm going to just go ahead and grab my brush. I'm going to take just the tip in here and I'm going to mix it in. I can add more, but it's really hard to take it out. Like if I get this where it's not quite right, I'm going to have challenges. So I'm going to add a little bit more. I like to add a little at a time. Unless I am really certain what I'm doing. And sometimes if I'm not paying attention, y'all, I will add too much. And I'm like, oh, come on. I know better. And I just keep going until I get a color that looks good. Now you can totally buy orange, obviously. And that's definitely easier, buy the color you want. But I more and more, the longer that I paint, the less I want to have a million colors to choose from. I would much rather have a handful of trusted colors. And if you are in my membership, I've got a list of colors of craft colors that we often use, that I often use, and it's not a lot. You can always buy more. Sometimes I'll buy specialty colors for certain projects, but I really try to keep our colors um, very minimal because I find that there's less overwhelm then, believe it or not, even though you might have to mix some colors, it's a little less overwhelming because you don't have as many choices. You're not like, oh, is this the blue or this the blue? It's like, okay, I've got this color, I've got this mermaid color, and now if I add some black, I can get a deeper color. If I add some white, I can get a really pretty lighter color. So I've really this past year embraced color mixing, and I'm surprised how much I loved it because I was always the one that bought all the colors, like all of them. I loved my paint colors. You were getting rid of paint. I will take them. I love more is better. Anybody who knows me is probably laughing because they know I have always been like a more is better. Less is more. What? Who's saying that stuff? That's just silly. Um, so this is a color. I'm liking this one, so we're going to go ahead and paint it. So yeah, I've really embraced the color mixing this year and am loving it. Now I still, like I said, I still like that mermaid color. I love that color. I'm just going to buy it. And sometimes I don't want to mix my colors. If I'm being totally truthful, sometimes I just want the color I want. I don't want to spend all the time trying to figure out and do it. So however you want to paint, however you choose to buy your colors is totally valid. I just like showing you different things that you can do. And one of them is mixing your own colors like this. Now I'm trying to stay in the lines just because, that's what I'm doing. But just know that for this, we're going to cut this out so you can get as sloppy as you want with it, which can be very liberating sometimes. But I'm just going to get this in here first. Don't worry about going over the stem. We're going to paint that darker color shortly. I'm going to layer in a little bit of this burnt sienna color. I'm going to see how that works. I think that's going to work nice in it. I'm not cleaning my brush. All these colors can work nicely together. I'm actually going to add a little of that orange in my burnt sienna just to give it some of the characteristics that we're already working with, and it helps the colors to harmonize together a little better, I think. And I'm just going to go right down on my, I'm going to call them the spines. I know that's not the name. Every year that I paint pumpkins, I'm like, oh, I got to learn pumpkin anatomy. Like, I really need to figure out what all this stuff is called. And then I don't think about it till I'm sitting down painting with you. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I was going to learn that. So whatever these lines are called, I'm painting those a little darker. I'm going to go around the edge also. And you can see I'm going off the edge, and I'm okay with that because I know that's going to all be cut off here in a minute. I'm just going to add a little bit down here. Add a little on the sides. Now take a little bit of my my orange, and I'm going to add a touch of yellow now to my orange, just to brighten just a little bit up. So I'm just bringing this yellow, I'm adding some in here. It's going to help me create a little lighter orange color. Let's do this. We want more yellow. There we go. I'll offload some of that. And then I'm just going to bring that on the other side just to bring a little bit of color in, little highlights. At the top, if we had a light source, it's probably going to hit pretty high on top here. And then we're going to use it just where we have shadow. If we put a little light, our shadow pops a little bit more. So we're just adding some variances. My pumpkin's looking pretty brown in the picture. I'm looking at it on the video, but in real life, it actually is a little more orange than it's showing. And also it's a little bit of on the earthier, warm side. I'm okay with that too. I think that can be really pretty for an orange. Again, they come in all different sizes and colors, so I feel like this works. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take a little white and just kind of bring some in here. That is really white, huh? That's all right. And if you don't like something, like I'm just feeling that's a little too much, I'm just going to bring a little bit of my yellow mixed orange over it, just to tone it down a little bit. Excuse me. Got a little bit lighter than I anticipated, but you know what? I'm going to work with that. And that, again, why I always say this is why we work in our art journals, because we can play around, we can see what works, what doesn't work, what we like, what we don't like. And actually, I think I am liking this even better than I did before. So it has worked out well that it got lighter than I wanted, because I played with it a little bit and I'm like, oh, I like that. That's kind of working for me. Okay, so now let's go ahead and grab a little bit and take a little bit of my black. So I would love to hear, what are you all decorating with this time of year in your house? Are you more of a fall decorator? Are you more of a Halloween spooky decorator? Do you mix the two? I love hearing like how you're transforming your house. Excuse me, for the holidays. For the holidays, meaning Halloween, fall, Thanksgiving. I know not everybody celebrates all of those, but whatever it is this time of year you're celebrating, I would love to hear how you are reflecting that in your home decor. All right, let me take a sip. And for those of you that are outside of the US, I know we have a few people that are like in Australia or other parts of the world, that you might be having different weather than we're having in Florida. This might not be your fall time. What do you do this time of year? Like what does this time of year look like for you? It's always fun to hear how other people are experiencing life in their part of the world. All right, so now I took my burnt sienna here that I had, and I took some black and I mixed it to get this nice brown color. It's nice deep brown. Again, you can buy brown, but you can also mix with the colors that you have. And I love the color that this makes. And I'm just using the same brush. And I'm just moving this, I'm just creating a little bit of depth here because you know how the pumpkins, their stems are not just straight up and down, they kind of go into the pumpkin a little bit. And it usually is going right into where, we have these, not spines, but the spines, these lines. All right, I'm going to take a little, since I have this, I'm just going to lightly bring this on a couple of these, my lines here. Don't want to do a lot, like I really am not wanting this to be, the dominant thing you see. But I do want to bring a little bit of definition to what I have going on here. It's just really coming together nicely, isn't it? Boy, he is all lopsided, but I'm going to embrace that. That's our pumpkin. Our pumpkin is not perfect, and that is totally okay. So then let's go ahead and add just a touch of white, a little definition there. That white is really white. Let's mix that to get that a little lighter. So I'm just keeping whatever paint is on my brush and mixing it with a little bit of white, and that's going to give me like this brown gray color, which is perfect for the stem. We're just creating a few little layers going on. And then we'll just add a little of this in here. I like to often when I'm painting, not always, but often if I've used a color in one place, I like to use it in a couple other places in my painting, just to bring it all together a little bit. All right, and then now that we have that, our background is almost dry. I'm going to show you guys. I got this forever ago, and I don't even know where I bought it. I suspect I got it from the art store, probably. Cheryl, how are you? Oh, the shape is cool and has characters, right? That's what I love about it. It's like, pumpkins, we often think of them as these perfect, round kind of ovally type thing, which is fantastic. Hold on just a second. I'm on a live, honey. What do you need?
I just want to say bye.
Oh, okay.
Hug.
Okay. Hold on a second, guys. I'm going to get a hug from my girl. Oh, I love you, baby.
Oh, yes.
Have a great day. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to college now.
Many of you know Sophia. You have grown up with Sophia, or you have watched her grow up, and she is now a college student. I'm so proud of her.
I'm getting an engineering degree.
Yes, you are. Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I like talking about myself.
I know you do. Mom. I love you too. She comes by that. She said, I love talking about myself. I'm like, she comes by that honest. Look what her mom does. Talks all day long. Okay, so what I started to say, we're talking about the pumpkin shape. Yeah, it's fun to do some with characters sometimes, to do them a little different. So this Graphite Pride, it's by Lyra. Graphite Pride. I don't really know how to say that. But on the side, it's a graphite crayon. This thing is the coolest thing. I have had this for years. I don't know why I bought it. I'm sure I signed up for a class and it was on the supply list. And I may or may not have finished the class. I might not have gotten to this part of the class. It happens sometimes. I'm just being honest. Back to the conversation we started with about resistance and following through. And sometimes you got to change it up. But I pulled this out the other day and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. So it's graphite. So it's like a pencil, except it is, so it's like a 2B pencil. I mean, it says 2B on it. So it's like your regular pencil. But I'm telling you, it feels like it's a little softer. I don't know if it is. I'm not an expert on this. I just own it. But I'm going to use this. You can also use a pencil. You could use a marker, but I want to add a little definition. So we're going to just bring it down. I'm going to go around. I'm going to move my paint before I have that all over me. I'm going to set it on the floor so I can step in it later and forget it's there and then step in it. All right. So I'm going to just, even though we're going to cut this off, I'm going to bring some definition. See, look at this. It's like a pencil, except not exactly. Now, listen, it probably is. Like somebody's going to tell me, oh, no, that's exactly a pencil. It's just thicker. And that might be, but there is something about this that I just love. And I'm going to get a little sketchy with this because I love that look. So I'm going to bring down. Again, I like to just bring some definition to these. I'm going to bring some on here, scribble in there a little bit. And then let's bring a little definition down here. So the lines don't have to connect, and it's actually really interesting if they don't. You know, it's okay to leave a little to the imagination here. Something going on that I kind of forgot about back here. It's probably why we ended up a little lopsided, but that's all right. Okay, I'm thinking I'm liking that. And I'm just going to add a few in here just because we can. All right. I don't know how well you can see that, if it even shows up for you, but it's kind of a little shinier so you can see where some of that graphite went. Again, you can use this with a pencil. You can use this. You can do the same thing with a marker, a pencil, whatever. We're just adding some definition there. Now, let's cut it out. Cut it out. Y'all, cut it out. I'm going to just bring it around here. So all month, I'm going to be doing a variety of different pumpkin tutorials. All pumpkins, all month, that I will be sharing with you. And they're all free, so come join me. It's fun because I'll be sharing different techniques each time. So today we're working with collage. We're working with mixed media. We're doing painting, a little sketching, you know, all the things. But each time it'll be a little different. So I will be doing 2 more lives on my page here. Wherever you're watching is where you will be able to see it, either on my Facebook page, in my Facebook group. If you're not part of it, put group in the comments and I will get you in there. I'll get you an invite to be in there. And on my YouTube channel. Did I say that? No. YouTube, Facebook, under Inner Journey Studios, and my free group. But I'll be here the next following Thursdays. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Doing paintings. So come join me. All right, time to grab the matte medium. Y'all, I love matte medium. If you do not have one of these, you need one. This is like a jar opener. This is one of my good friends, by the way. If you need a house in Florida, go check her out. She is amazing. But this opens so well. Like, I love this because otherwise, even with this, I have to like really crank it. But This matte medium, I use matte medium a lot, and I've probably had this a year and a half or 2 years now. So it costs a little more than some of the crafty ones that are out there that a lot of people like to use. It does cost more. Get it with a coupon, shop the sales for it. But it lasts, and you can glue like anything with this stuff. I am telling you, it glues on anything. It is amazing. Um, One of the reasons I like using it in my art journal, I like to share this with you because a lot of people will ask, well, why would I use that instead of, one of the other whatever? And I'm like, because um it your paper won't buckle as much. I don't want to say it won't buckle. Paper, if it gets moist, you're gonna get some crinkles and wrinkles and buckles and stuff. But it's significantly less with when you use a matte medium than when you are using, you know, like a crafty type of similar adhesive. All right, so I'm just going to take this, I'm putting it on the back. I want to get right up there. Oh, this, I love these. You can use a brush to put this on, but a friend of mine introduced me to these silicone brushes a couple years ago for matte medium, and it has been a game changer for me. So it's silicone. You can now get them. I got this one at Hobby Lobby, and they're not too expensive. They're a couple dollars. When I first bought the first one I bought, I had to get it online on Amazon, and it was like $7 or $8. And at the time, I was like, I don't know if I want to spend that on, something like this that has basically one purpose. But my friend was raving about it. So I did. And oh my gosh, one of the best purchases ever, because you all might be great about washing your brushes and washing them really well. Some of us may be a little challenged. And when I say some of us, what I mean is me. And I don't want to say I wasn't ruining them every time, but I definitely was not always getting them as clean as I should. And then it would ruin the brush if it had the matte medium in it. So now I don't worry about it. I know exactly what I know exactly what I need when I'm using my matte medium. I grab this and no more ruined brushes. All right, we're back to our background here. Oh, and I don't actually clean this. I let it dry and then I just peel it off, which is very satisfying. All right, I'm going to set this down here. I'm going to figure out where I want it. And I think we're going to do it right about like that. I'm going to take my credit card, make sure it's the side that doesn't have paint. And I'm going to use this to bring it down. Looks like I've got a little something. I think I have a little debris under there, but that's all right. Part of the thing with your art journal is this is the time, like, okay, so I've got a little something down there that's not going to let this lay flat. In my art journal, I don't care. If I was doing this to sell, it would be, possibly more of a concern. It still might not be, depending on what was going on, because, his character. But these are the things like I look and go, oh, okay, so I know next time I do something like this, double check and make sure there's no extra anything on my page that I'm gluing, and make sure I don't have anything on the back, because even a little piece of sand or whatever will make it so it can't lay down all the way. You probably can't see this at all. I'm seeing it like right here. So anyhow, just talking you through my process. There we go. Look at how cute it's looking. Oh my goodness. Oh, great pumpkin. Thank you. I appreciate that. I am loving this one so much. Oh, I looked, I was like, am I muted? What? And then I remembered I have my camera on my phone muted so that I don't get feedback from it. I was like, have I been talking this whole time and nobody can hear me? Okay, we are going to use, let me make sure this one's working. I'm telling you, white paint pens and gel pens, I swear, are the bane of my existence as an artist. I do like the Signo ones. This is by Uniball, the Signo white. This is a gel one. I do enjoy these, but they don't always work. Like, oh, there we go. They're a little temperamental sometimes. And I think it doesn't help when we have so much media that we're using. All right, this might not be the best solution. Let's see. And it's like sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. All right, this one is not wanting to work. Let's try another one. And if not, we'll go to the next plan. Let's see if this works better. Oh, there we go. Maybe. So I'm not wanting to outline the whole thing in white, but I would like to get a little bit of white. There we go. I kind of forget sometimes with these, you don't want to always press down. Like a lot of times when we write, we press down. And when you're using one of these gel pens, I find I have the best success when I let it kind of dance on top, like it floats on top of the paper instead of pushing down. Oh, I said that. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Yeah, I find gel pens seriously are white gel pens are the bane of my existence as a mixed media artist, trying to find the right one. And I always think I'm like, oh, I found it. This one's going to be the one. And then, it works, it doesn't work. There we go. And you don't really need this, but you can see it's kind of cool because it starts to give some lines and dimension and just a little extra fun to it, a little energy. All right. And then sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So that's okay. Usually I like these. I don't know. I haven't used them in a while and I don't know if maybe it's just it might just be drying out a little bit. But I think that's enough. I just like to give a little bit of energy going on there. And then I'm going to take my pasta pen, my white one. Excuse me. Just add a few dots on here. I don't want to like go overboard, but it is kind of nice to have a few little fun details added in. Oh, I like it just like that. All right, and then just going to add a little nod to a table. I'm just doing that with some white scribbles. So again, I'm not really looking for this to be like, it doesn't have to be like realistic. I just want to nod to it, just like a little bit. And then let's just go ahead and give it just a little shadow. I'm back with my crayon here, my graphite crayon. just out just a little bit there. And I think we are done. You could totally bring this up and around if you wanted to outline it that way, but I don't. I think we're just going to leave it as is. We've got our fun little stem going on there. We've got our pumpkin has some really cool dimension. It's a little wonkadoodle, which I personally like. We just have a lot going on here. Got our little shadow. I think I'm going to smudge this just a little bit. There we go. There we go. I like that better. And we are done. We've got our pumpkin done. Less than an hour. You know, if you're watching this on replay, you can like fast forward through parts and, you know, probably in about 30 minutes or so, you can have this done. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please, I would love it if you would like, subscribe, like, follow whatever channel you're on. Do the thing. Y'all know, do the thing. But let's be friends online. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this. I cannot wait to see your pumpkin. Even if you don't have a pumpkin hat on, let's see it. And please tag me. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Enjoy your month, make time for your art. And if you find that you are experiencing resistance, sitting down to do your art, and if you're not sure why I'm bringing this up right now, check the very beginning of this when it's on replay. And I talk about resistance in our creativity and sitting down and being creative. If you find that you are having resistance, become intentional and be a detective and figure out what that resistance is from and see what you can do to overcome that. And if you have any tips and tricks for showing up for your art, showing up for your creativity, whatever that looks like for you, let us know in the comments. Share what you found works for you to make sure that you take time for your creativity. All right. Thank you so much. I'm Michelle with Inner Journey Studios. Until next time, bye-bye. Toodaloo.